All righty, we're doing this with just audio today. Excuse me. And I hope I had to make up some a last minute document there at the end. I hope that I'm as ready to go as I think I am, and I hope that this doesn't run too long because I need processing time for my first class. Okay, so we're going to do a whole bunch of screen shares. We're talking today mostly about MLA style documentation. And of course, we're going to start with works cited entries. And let me do a screen share. I made up a document yesterday. Go, this is the one I want. And what I've done here is I have focused on the things I think you are probably going to end up using, right? And I've got a popular magazine, a physical copy, right? Because I have lots of magazines around the house and I have offered them in the classroom repeatedly. And they are frequently a really good source of general sort of information, especially background examples, things like that. Then I've offered a templated form of what a citation might look like, and then an example of the works cited entry for that form. I had an article by a person named Naya Amara called Touching the Stars from Scientific American, March 2024, and that article appeared on pages 30 to 35. Now, this says day, month, year. Scientific American comes out monthly, so it was only identified with a month, March. That's the information I had. That's the information I supplied. Had this been, for instance, a newspaper, there would have been a day associated as well. And you might notice over here in my miscellaneous notes on page 2 that dates in MLA are always day, month, abbreviated typically, and then year. And this is the abbreviation for March. Most months have a 3-letter abbreviation. Then a popular magazine found online, and this is indeed the way that most of us are going to find this material. Again, whenever possible, you start with the author. I actually probably should have found an example where there was no author, um, but I didn't. Okay. Title of the article, title of the periodical, in this case, the Atlantic magazine. This did have a day, month, and year. There were no page numbers for this. I'm going to stop the screen share and go to this article, actually. I'm going to screen share again, and I am going to find somewhere. Okay, I know what I need to do. I need to go to this. Okay, I'm sorry. But yeah, it's actually on the web. So what I needed to do was change my window. Here we go. Share. Oh, no, wrong one. Uh, stop share. Screen share again. These are really difficult to see. Okay, here we go. All right. So this is an article from the Atlantic by a person by Nicholas St. Lafleur, right? This is the article title, Mapping 61 Ancient Tattoos on a 5,300-year-old Mummy, Otzi the Iceman, right? And I actually have a few articles I'm using today about old Otzi. Um, but here I've got man, and again, this is so awkward trying to flip back and forth. I have a URL up at the top, right? And because this is just a web-based article, that URL is everything I need to go to get there. The Atlantic, I happen to know to be a popular magazine, but it's also theatlantic.com. This is an article title, right? It's the first thing at the top of the page. And we have a byline, and then we have a bunch of text here. Okay. And actually, because it's the Atlantic, they want you to sign in to get the full article, which I did yesterday, but I'm not going to do today, right? We don't need to see the whole thing. I'm not going to use this one as an example for other things, but let's go now back to stop share, screen share, back to my document about commonly used works cited entry forms. Again, we have the author name. Author names, when they appear at the beginning of a works cited entry, are reversed. Last name, comma, first name, period. And yes, punctuation counts in these. It helps us determine a sort of hierarchy of information. Author name is super important, so it's followed by a period. The article name is super important to finding the right thing for the reader, so it's followed by a period. The publication name, because the publication is put out frequently. I'm pretty sure the Atlantic's a monthly, but they date it with a day date, so it might be weekly. But knowing the date is important, is as important almost as knowing the publication, right? And then because it was found online, the URL is also in that hierarchy of information necessary for the reader to find it. And then almost always when you find something online, you have a date accessed. That way, if the reader goes to find it and they can't, they know when you were there. And that might mean that they have to, something has been moved from the sort of um, within the hierarchy of the website to maybe an archive page. And they know they might have to look a little bit harder to find something. This article, is actually from 2015, so I think it's probably already in its archived position. But but things on the internet change really fast. It's something like something on the internet changes every 0.04 seconds. I've been to a website one day and gone to try to find it the next day and it's gone. And that's why we include that date accessed. Okay, so that's for a popular magazine found online. And you'll notice that these are really very similar to one another. The difference between a popular magazine and a scholarly article goes from title of periodical to title of journal, and journals frequently use a volume and issue number in along with the date. Okay, sometimes it's just a year that they provide, sometimes it's a little bit more. Um, this article, because it was in an online version, did not have any page numbers. It was an HTML article, therefore, there were no page numbers associated with it. An article from a database. Okay. And what I have here is a JSTOR article, JSTOR being the database, author, title of article, title of journal, volume and issue number, the range of pages that the article appears on, the title of the database, a DOI or a database identifying number, or a stable URL, and again, the date accessed. And I actually made up two different examples of this. One is from the Annual Review of Anthropology. It had a volume number, but no issue number. The year 2004 pages. JSTOR is my database. And notice that this is italicized here, this is italicized here, italicized here, italicized here. Um, and then I found an article with a stable URL, and I found an article with a DOI number. Okay. And they're interchangeable in these entries for journals. This one, Journal of Archaeological Science, Volume 36, Number 10. A little bit more information than I had for the previous one. It was there, it was available. And by the way, I tried doing these. I was in A to Z databases in the Walker Library website, and I used the works cited generator, right? And then I checked, and what happened was everything in the first one was good, but in the second one, it failed to italicize the name of the journal. I do not know why. But this is one of the reasons you have to kind of proofread this. This is super important that this be italicized. It identifies it as the journal itself, right? So this is important stuff, and you have to make sure you get it right. All right. I don't know. I think I've got 8 different entries here. If I missed an italicizing of a journal article in one of 8 entries, is that going to cost me big points on my essay? No, it's not, right? It's all kind of relative to the volume of stuff you start with compared to the severity of the error. And that's a pretty big one, but I wouldn't take off. If there were consistent errors on a works cited page, it's going to lose some points. If you have one tiny error in a large mass of data, you're not going to suffer. Okay. But it's worth looking at because, again, if you have several, it's going to add up. Um, Someone in one of my classes asked about how do I find this information? So once again, I'm gonna take a quick look. What have I got here? I'm gonna do a stop screen share. I'm going to go back over here and I am going to find my article from JSTOR, which is the one called Inscribing the Body. Okay, so now I've got that. Now I'm coming back to Zoom again and I'm going to do a screen share for this PDF file. I downloaded this from the database as a PDF file. Okay. And when you print something, and of course I printed these for my research file, right? And I've printed this PDF, or at least I printed this top page, and I printed the page that a quotation appears on page 325. Where do you find the information? From a database. This top page has everything you need to know. Okay. We have AR up here. That's the annual review of anthropology. That's the journal source journal published by annual reviews, whatever that might be. There's our stable URL, right? I'm going to need that. I'm going to need the year and the volume of publication and the page range, the author name, and the article title name. And if I scroll down, we see that all this information gets repeated over and over. There is lots of possibilities of places I can look for this information. But inscribing the body is the name of the article as a whole. And this is our author. Excuse me again. Okay. But this is where I would look for this information. And again, whenever I'm printing something from a database like JSTOR, they usually supply this top page. Print that sucker. Okay. It's the easiest, most direct route to all the information you need for your documentation. Okay. So I'm going to stop that. I'm going to go back to my Word document again. Okay, so that takes us to here. Now, another difference between these two, Pabst MA et al. Okay, I'm gonna stop my screen share. I'm going to find Pabst et al. God, I hope I'm gonna find Pabst et al. Let me see, where did I find this document at? The Journal of Archaeological Science. Okay. Um, and it is called The Tattoos of, Yikes. I have so many documents open. This is such a nightmare. Um, Mapping 61, document 5, topics of research, downloads. Where the heck did I put this document? There it is. Okay. Sorry. Um, it's I'm still not finding this document. It's a PDF document. Close that. Try it again. There. Now it popped up. I had to close my screen share window and then reopen it to find the document after I changed tabs in Zoom, which is the tool I'm working in. Anytime you change tabs, it doesn't update. Okay, so here's the article I'm working with for this one. And we see that these are the authors down here. This is the article title. This is the journal that it came from. These are our authors. And whenever there are more than two, you use the first one, M.A. Pabst, and again reversed Pabst, comma M.A. because it only provides initials. That's exactly how I represent it in my document. But after the first name, you use the abbreviation ET period AL period, which is Latin for and others, right? Et al. So that's how I derived that. And then I've got several pages of article here. Actually, it's not really a very long article at all. I'm actually going to come back to this one in a little bit, but let's go stop share. Let's go back to our document here. And that's where this came from. And that's what I was attempting to show you there. Again, this was the one that it's sort of screwed up. Didn't italicize this, do in fact proofread stuff. Web pages. Okay, so you're going to use lots of web pages. It's 2024. This is our major source of information, probably. So, with my tattoo focus firmly in place, I went and found one about military tattoos. And to find this one, I need to go here first, change my tab in my browser. Then I need to go back to Zoom. It said I was screen sharing when I did that, but I'm guessing you didn't see it. And here and here. Okay, now this is where things sometimes get a little bit weird. This one's actually very straightforward. Okay. This is our page title. Okay. This is our website title. And I know that because up here in the URL, coffeeordie.com is the first element. That's your website title. That's how I know that this is my website title. Black Rifle Coffee Company? Well, it turns out that that's not even in this URL anywhere. This is probably like an advertising banner for a sponsor. This is my website title. Another way I can check that is I scroll way down to the bottom and I look for the copyright C in Circle 2024 Coffee or Die magazine. And I've got Coffee or Die here, and I've got Coffee or Die up in the URL. Okay, again, some advertising, no doubt. Actually, lots of advertising on this website because there just is always lots of advertising on websites, right? If I go back up to the top again, I've got my website. I have my page title, which is the equivalent of a web article title. I have a date of publication, and I have what is presumably an author, right? And then my article starts. Well, it turns out that this particular website, if I go, and I'm sorry if this is making you as dizzy as it is me, This particular website has a little author biography down here at the bottom. Lets me know this person is qualified to write a nice article. Essentially, this is a person with a degree in political science, a master's degree from Columbia. She has worked for the ACLU. This is an author I can trust, and I'm very thankful that they put that information in there, actually. I believe what this person is going to tell me. But again, everything I need: website title, article title, publication date, author. Okay. Everything I need except content. So here. All right. So a web page. I have an author. I have an article title. I have a website title, author, article, website, URL. And this is a really long URL. I copied the whole thing. And I am not sure exactly why, but every time I tried to move this up a line, it deleted that hyphen. And you have to have the hyphen for the URL to be complete. So technically, this should all appear as, a single 2 lines in this case, but I couldn't do it. So accuracy for my reader is more important than accuracy for formatting on my works cited page. You have to make choices like that sometimes. Okay. All right. Web pages. Lots of you. I know you're limited to one video or audio source, but YouTube is probably going to be a lot of people's go-to. So I included a YouTube video. Once again, before I do this, I have to change windows there. Okay, stop my screen share, re-up my screen share. All right, so here we're looking at a YouTube screen, and pretty typical stuff. This is an article called "The Meaning and Symbolism Behind Viking Tattoos." It was posted by Weird History. It was posted on someplace I found a posted on date. Well, now it just says 1 year ago. There it is. So you hover over that 1 year ago, it says October 16th, 2022. And I had to do a little bit of digging because let's stop this screen share. Back to Zoom, go back to this document. And I know this is awkward. I'd be doing the same thing in the classroom, flitting around in the computer. So it's not that very different. But a YouTube video starts with author creator, and that is not always the same as the uploader. Oh God, excuse me again. Yeah, this is why I'm not at school today. Um, on the YouTube site, I clicked on Weird History to take me to the uploaders page, and they had an about button, and it turns out that they create their own content. So I put them under creator. If the author, creator, and uploader are the same, you only put this in once and you put it in the first position. Frequently, YouTubers just repost stuff, right? And in that case, it's sometimes difficult to know if the creator and author are the same. Weird History had a nice little thing that told me that they're the creators. If I were uncertain, I would have started with the title of the video, then YouTube, then Weird History as the uploader, right? The date uploaded, and then a URL. And for some strange reason that I do not understand, a date accessed is not required for YouTube videos. Okay. I don't know why, but I found this template. These templates are all copied straight from the Owl Purdue website. This is their template, not mine, right? They're the ones that did this. Um, I created this one, okay, because they didn't have one that was very specific to a photograph or an image from a web page. They had like works of art photographs. They were a little bit different. So I actually had to create this next one down here. And we're not probably going to look at that. Well, actually, we might have to look at that one. Um, but again, all this information was readily available right on the YouTube page. All I had to do was figure out where to put my information in the template. Okay. And then make sure that my italics, punctuation matched what was supposed to be present. Okay. An image from a web page. I'm going to go stop share. I'm going to go to this. Okay. Then I'm going to go back to Zoom and I'm going to go screen share again and here and here. Now I was figured I'm going to put some pictures in my essay, and I need some pictures of tattoos and transmutation circles. One of the things that tattooing has been used for in human culture is ritual and magic, right? So these are magic circles, essentially, transmutation circles, circles that indicate they're alchemical in nature, right? And they led into gold, a rotten person into a good person, et cetera, right? This is a kind of a magic circle. Actually, almost all of these are magic circles. Lots of them are just variations on the same thing. Some of them are actually identical, just different examples. This one's the same as the previous one, but it leaves out some text because text is kind of hard to do. Same one again, just different places on bodies because tattoos look different and then artists embellish them differently. I went down and I found one someplace. Where's the one that I decided to look at? Oh, I found this one particularly cool. Okay, this is the one I decided I was going to put. Okay, and this is the creator, and you have to read this kind of carefully because the person that did this tattoo is actually probably a non-native English speaker. This is a .edu site, and I do not know what country identifier VN is. Perhaps Venezuela? I don't know. Okay. But yeah, this is a .edu website. This is some probably a professor, maybe an art teacher, maybe a sociologist that's interested in tattooing, right? But this is an educational website, and this is a country identifier, VN, and I could look it up and find out what that means, but I'm not going to. But because English is probably not this person's first language, you have to read this kind of carefully. Tattoo uploaded by Francisca Transmutation Circle. That's actually what this is. This is a Franciscan transmutation circle that's been embellished with a spin-off of the very famous painting, The Creation of Man, right? But this was created by a woman named, I assume, a woman. Perhaps my language barrier is getting in the way. Agni Fuma, right? FMA. That's the person's name that created the tattoo. This is the title of the tattoo itself, Francisca Transmutation Circle. We don't know who actually took the photograph, but the image was created by this person and it has a title. Okay. Have to have to read kind of carefully sometimes. It says uploaded by, but I have no idea exactly what that meant. It was uploaded by the person that made the tattoo, right? So I'm going to stop screen share. Go back to my document, commonly used works cited entries. So I have a creator of the image, this person. I have a title of the image, and pictures, works of art are italicized, right? The name of your tattoo is italicized if you present it in an essay. Then the title of the web page. And again, this is another indicator that English is not this person's first language. Aggregate should probably be followed by a colon. More than 74 transmutation circle tattoos. Tattoo best. Okay, so it should have been plural. There's some syntax issues happening there, lack of punctuation. Again, just an indicator that this is not an English speaker. Not a problem, just something that you need to be kind of thinking about while you're making things up. Now, this is actually the website name, and the website comes from a .edu site, but this apparently is the name of a university, not a person. Um, TH Dong Howdewan. That's apparently the name of a university in some foreign country. So that's the name of my website. And one thing I did, and I'm going to go back and change screen shares again. One thing I did when I was looking at this was I looked for that copyright indicator, right? And it's almost always at the bottom of a web page. Copyright 2024 ESTH down Howdian. Okay. So that's the copyright holder, and the copyright holder is sometimes referred to as the administrator or sponsor of a website. But website, ES, here's our website title, but it's listed as a URL. And again, there's all kinds of little language issues in this paragraph. You have to kind of read around them, read through them, but it's not horrible. It's just not undecipherable. You just have to think some. This is another good reason not to like assume your documentation's going to be fast. It took me most of the day yesterday to put together this page, right? And I admit I was sick. I took a couple of naps. I was tired. But nonetheless, it took me most of the day to put together an 8 entry sample. And I was doing more work than you had to because I had to do my research as I went too. Okay. So another thing that a lot of people are going to use is a point of view article from opposing viewpoints. And let me find my article because I have no idea where it's at. Um, Start here. Yeah, we've already looked at that one. We've already looked at that one. We've already looked at the Atlantic. That would indicate that I need to go to this one. Okay, now I go back to Zoom. I'm going to go stop my screen share and re-screen share with this. Okay, once again, I have downloaded this as a PDF document. Okay, this is from Opposing Viewpoints. Opposing Viewpoints got it from the Washington Post, which is a newspaper, right? Because it's a newspaper, it's got a day, month, year, it has an author, and everything's listed up here at the top. This is literally everything I need to know. There is no page number listed. Okay. This is an HTML document, right? It's now a PDF, but it was downloaded as HTML. It does not show the original pagination of the newspaper. It might even have been printed in their online version and never had a page number. No page number. but we have an author. And if this author wasn't listed, byline means by, and there's our author name. Okay. Article title, newspaper title. This is from the opposing views database. I know that, right? So right here at the top is everything I need for my works cited entry. So I'm going to go stop share. I'm going to go back to this document again. Author. You should be getting used to seeing that. And again, if there had been no author, I would skip and I'd go to the next available piece of information, which would be the author title in this case. In quotation marks, the title of the publication, the Washington Post, the date, 20 July 2018, May, June, and July are the 3 months that do not have abbreviations, the name of the database, Gale in context, opposing viewpoints, a permalink. Okay, this is not a DOI number. DOI numbers always say DOI at the beginning. This is a permalink. I checked it twice, right? Made sure I had the right one, and then my date accessed. Okay, getting tongue-tied already, and I'm trying to hurry so that this will get posted by time for my first class. Statista. Here's here's the information that I got from the Purdue OWL website, the template. And I tried to match that up with a couple of graphs from Statista, and it didn't work. So I went online and I asked best advice for citing Statista. And repeatedly, I was told like two or three times, two or three things I looked at. They're all like, just use the URL citation generator. Just use the citation generator in Statista. Sometimes that's the best we can hope for. So I didn't actually bother to put up an example. I just put that best piece of advice there. Now, works cited pages. Okay, dates in MLA. For YouTube videos, that little thing about creator and uploader being the same. Works cited entries are usually double spaced. I didn't do it here because this document would have been stupidly long, right? So I single spaced these, but I did make a works cited page from my examples and I double spaced it. Okay, the works cited page here is accurate, like yesterday accurate. The first line of a works cited entry always starts on the left-hand margin, and subsequent lines are indented. There's a tricky way to do this. It's called a hanging indent. What I did was I created these, then I put my cursor right there, and then I put in an enter and then a tab. And then I went to the next line and I put in an enter, right? I did it physically. Because this is finalized and nothing in it is going to change, that tabulation return, or what we call an enter, isn't going to change either. These will be stable. Ooh, a little bit of lightning outside my back door there. These are going to be stable right up until I put them in my essay, right? Works cited pages, by the way, are alphabetized. There is no numbering. If you happen to have a title that starts with a symbol, that goes before a numeral. If you have a title that starts with a numeral, those go before letters. And on a works cited page, the words works cited are capitalized and centered at the top of the page. Works cited, alphabetical order. First line on the left margin, subsequent lines indented. Carry on, right? This is all 8 sources in proper order. This is exactly what the works cited page for the stuff I did yesterday would look at. All right. Now I want to talk really fast about in-text citation. And to do that, I have yet another document to share. And Document 5, because I haven't even saved it yet. This is the one I was working on right before class. All right. A couple ways you can do in-text citation. One is right in the sentence, and the other is parenthetically. Okay. So this first one, there were no page numbers with this article, but I still have to get my reader to the right place on the works cited page, which was this author's name right here. So I've done a little bit of an introduction. Long after a sexual assault, Laura Gutierrez Gomez, my author name, got a tattoo as a way to reclaim control over her body. That's paraphrase. Okay. Stating, by marking it with something I'd chosen, a menacing, angry looking, green eyed jaguar on my back, I was branding my body as mine. Okay, so I made a change. This was the beginning of a sentence that was capitalized. I changed it to a lowercase. I indicated that change with the brackets. The quotation marks indicate the end of the source material in this case. Okay. The author's name starts the source material. The quotation marks mark the end. All right. So here's another one, an in-sentence introduction with parenthetical citation to mark the end of the source material. This was a paragraph from M.A. Pabst et al., right? In an article about the analyzing of the tattoos of Otzi, oh, that's awkward wording, the Tyrolean Iceman, M.A. Pabst et al., Pabst and others, note that tattooing, which they defined as insertions of coloring agents into the skin, that's a direct source language, has been practiced since the early advent of human culture, and that tattooing has been used ornamentally, therapeutically, and ritually. And this paragraph ran from pages 2336 to 2337. So I have my author name, gets my reader to the right place on the works cited page, and the page numbers that this actual content came from. Okay, that's a longer article than that, not a lot longer than that, but those are the actual page numbers that this information came from. Here's a final in-text citation example. You have to introduce your source material somehow, right? So I put in Inscribing the Body, which is the article title, the long history of tattooing is associated with Greeks, Romans, and Celts who used tattooing for penal and property purposes. Now, this gives my reader a context and it introduces the beginning of my source material. This is almost all paraphrase with couple of embedded quotations in it. This was actually a paraphrase of a beginning of a sentence, and this is the end of the sentence. There was a quotation within a quotation, thus the little single marks here, right? But what I didn't do was I did not identify the author in the sentence. And I have to because I have to get my reader to the right place on the works cited page. The author's name was Schildkraut, and this came from page 325 of a much longer article. I haven't done it quite yet, but I'm going to put this document and the other one that we've been looking at in that last little folder in the unit unit 1 content folder there, I think. Okay. Um, but I'm gonna do that stuff, and these will be available for you to look at shortly. Actually, they'll probably be there before you ever view this video. Okay, so where are we at? What are we doing? What I didn't get to do today that I wanted to do in class was to take a look at our awards. One of the reasons I'm home today is because I really want to be there Friday. It's going to be our last opportunity to have a live question and answer session before break. I hope that by staying home today and resting and trying to take care of this sinus slash upper respiratory thing that's going on, I will be able to be in attendance on Friday. You should plan on being in attendance on Friday too. It's the day before spring break. The university already gives you a week off. If you don't think that's enough, then I'm sorry. Uh, well, no, I'm not, obviously, but you already get a week off. You should plan on being there the day before and the day after break. Um, the other thing that we didn't do, of course, is kind of preview homework. And I want to talk very, very fast because it is now 8:41 a.m. and it's going to take time to process these recordings. I wanted to talk about midterm grade reporting. As of class time today, the last quiz that's going to be in before I have to do midterm grade reporting is in. So I hope to actually do that today instead of tomorrow. Since I'm not spending my day in the classroom today, and because there is no point in waiting till tomorrow because every score that's in is in. If I waited till tomorrow, some people would have taken the next quiz, some people would not. It would be a minor difference in statistic, but it's better if everybody's exactly at the same place. All right. So I'm not sure exactly how long this took, but probably you feel like too long. Certainly it took less time than class would have. And so I need to stop and do some processing, get this uploaded to YouTube for my first class. All right. Have a good day. I'll see you on Friday, I hope.